Hey Michigan fans, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just wanted to give you some of my thoughts, my reactions to Michigan's win 31-10 over the Indiana Hoosiers. And wow, this game did not go how I thought it would. Obviously, Michigan, I don't know if they won or lost the coin flip, whatever. They get the ball to start the first half and they just drive down. Pass. Corum gets a run. Don't get me wrong, I think it was a foreshadow of things to come, obviously, but he runs through basically four Indiana defenders, goes for 50 yards, gets tackled at the 1. Next play, rushing touchdown, 7-0 Michigan. And you thought, okay, this is going to be a win, going to be an easy win like people think. You know, the spread was 20-some points. Not what happened. Michigan, don't know what it really was for, say, at that point, but the offense kind of sputtered a little bit. A few good plays by Indiana. And, punt. And then Indiana scores 7-7. But I think, obviously, they definitely have to have a couple points here. In the first half, definitely Michigan was playing sloppy. The refs were calling them for some of the plays, and then the refs were making bailout calls. I'm not a huge fan of announcers overall, and it is what it is. But when you hear Joe Klatt saying, well, that's a makeup call from the other one, and, I don't agree with that call, it's like, yeah, these are not the best refs in the Big Ten. There you can see a tail here. I got a cat on my lap. So you might hear a meow from time to time. But Michigan shot itself in the foot, obviously. Certain plays got dumb penalties along the way. And, their offense just stagnated. They obviously, both teams had a chip shot field goal block. And the first half was just choppy, man. Obviously, the big story, the big cause of that, you would say, of course, is Mike Hart having his medical issue on the sideline. That clearly impacted the Michigan team in some degree. The running back group was quite taken aback by that. Obviously, the whole offensive team and the coaches. And, you can't just ignore that. And Michigan just seemed to be dazed, right? And honestly, Michigan was fortunate to be tied 10-10 at halftime. I honestly thought that Indiana was going to take the lead. They were just moving the ball, chip down the field, real quick, short passes and all that. And I thought for sure Indiana was going to have the lead, and somehow it was 10-10. Just such a choppy first half. So many penalties. And I got to say, too, Fox broadcast today was really lacking. They did not tell you what was happening. All of a sudden, the clock stops, and they talk for 10-15 seconds, and then they let you know a player's down. Or, they didn't even tell you when, Indiana or Michigan called some timeouts. It's all of a sudden, what is going on? The announcers were, telling their own stories, not telling you what was happening at the game at the moment. There wasn't the lull to tell that story. They were just, doing it. Oh, it's my time to tell this story, and I don't care. I'm just going to tell the story. So, I have to say the Fox broadcast was subpar today. Really lacking in giving details of what was happening. The refs were subpar, but even worse. I know Big Ten officials are terrible anyways, but this was a really bad reffing crew. When you miss a call and then you call one that's completely phantom and a makeup call, or the penalty on Mullings, I think it was, when he wiped his mouth and they thought it was a, slitting the throat. It clearly wasn't. Took a 3rd and 20 away and gave him a first down. They ended up scoring on that drive. Obviously, refs are always an issue, but today's game was just really poorly refereed. Don't forget that time where they didn't give Michigan a chance to substitute, and we got called for too many men on the field. It's these refs were just not really paying attention very well. They did a very poor job. The block in the back on the punt on replay, the guy just falls down and gets a call. So the refs were just subpar, even for Big Ten refs. It's easy to say that. I don't want to say that's why Michigan played poorly. Michigan played poorly because they played poorly. Halftime, 10-10. Obviously, the story came out that Mike Hart was able to reach out to the team. I assume probably some phone call, could do a video chat so they could see him. I don't know when Mike Hart's going to be released, but obviously that was uplifting for the team. They come out after Indiana gets a stop. Indiana gets stopped by Michigan. And Michigan goes down, gets the touchdown. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. I think that might have even been sorry, I'm looking at my stats here. Oh, the hidden yards, right? Michigan got called for the offside. cost them 18 yards for that penalty. Really hidden yards because Michigan got it at the 2-yard line instead of the 20. I love hidden yard stats like that. But Michigan got it, and boom, went down the field, 17-0. The Michigan defense in the second half was outstanding. They took away what Indiana liked to do. Totally excellent job. I love it when your coaching staff can make excellent second half adjustments. Excellent job there. They held Indiana from, I think it was 193 yards in the first half to 29 in the second half. 29 yards in the second half. Michigan, conversely, had 263 yards in the second half. Michigan completely dominated the time of possession, and you could see that on the second and third touchdown drive. Michigan was able to just run the ball and get yards and get yards. The Indiana defense was just getting tired. Indiana, I think, had 7 drives in the second half, and I think 5 of them were punts and the turnover on downs, something like that. So, I mean, just excellent job. Maybe it was 6 possessions there. 5 punts and the turnover on downs. Definitely the defense came out in the second half, got some good pressure. The only way Indiana moved the ball again was on, the roughing the passer call and some other stuff. It was really shut down. So kudos to the defense and kudos to Jesse Minter for making the adjustments to take away what was working in the first half. When Indiana had to drop back, man, that quarterback Pulaski, I'm sure that's not right, but he got just lit up. He was getting hit all over the place. The 4 guys and every so often you'd blitz. And Junior Colson got home. It was great, man. They ended up having 7 sacks. They just dominated the second half. It was just great. That's what I love to see. The defense made adjustments, took away what was working, got the win. Move to the offensive side here. Obviously, Corum got the 50-yard touchdown, almost touchdown run. Outside of that, it was a little give and take. He does end up with over 100 yards on the game. So that streak, cool, 1 touchdown. All right, he definitely started getting more yards in the second half. Like I said, Indiana got tired. But this is really the JJ show, right? I knew Indiana would do that, and they were really effective. I give them props for that. That they were able to shut down the rushing attack and force JJ to throw the ball. And JJ was accurate again. I think it was 28 out of 36. Obviously, I didn't like the pick. You can't do that play in the red zone, especially the end zone. It is what it is. Quarterbacks are throwing and they make picks, and that's what happens. And it didn't set us back too much. Obviously, I would have loved to have gotten up by 10 points right there. Sorry, excuse me. Getting over a little bit of a cold. And he just rebounded, right? He got the touchdown pass and to Johnson. He got a touchdown pass to Schoonmaker. And just boom, boom, boom. Yes, let's go. And again, a touchdown pass. Johnson had 2 in the game. So, JJ, 304 yards, 3 touchdown passes, almost 80% passing, and the 1 pick. I mean, I'll take that. And you could see his value. When a play broke down, it was a critical 3rd and 5, 6, 7, something like that, and he scrambled out and got the first down. We scored on that drive, I believe. So, I mean, just his mobility is just a big factor that, needs to be used more-ish. But, I also got to say... Get down, JJ. He got lit up on the quarterback keeper there, and I still think it should have been targeting, but what do you expect? The Big Ten doesn't care about targeting. They didn't care about Roman Wilson against Iowa. They're not going to care about JJ McCarthy against Indiana. It's a free-for-all. Just lower your head and dive with your head. It doesn't matter in the Big Ten. That's what we're hearing. So, it is what it is. A gutty performance, given everything that was going against Michigan. The refs were calling a lot of penalties. Michigan averages 3 a game. They got called for 10 that were accepted. They overcame that. The turnover battle was even, 1 pick each. Michigan found a way to win. It was a tie game on the road. Michigan dominates the second half. 263 yards to 29. Indiana was 1 for 7 on 3rd downs in the second half. 1 of 7. That's just excellent job there. Try not to have my Michigan sign look like I have little devil horns here. Sorry. A lot tougher than I thought it was. Indiana and Tom Allen just have that way of being just annoying and pesky. And this is just a classic Indiana game, right? Where it's tighter than you want it to be, but you pull out the win gladly and you're happy to move on. You won a game on the road in the Big Ten. Be happy. Move on. But definitely this brings up some big points about Penn State next week. Penn State got to rest. They're going to be a much different animal than Indiana. They're much more, I would say, pro-style offense, quarterback running a little bit with Clifford. You got the great running backs and some good wide receivers, excuse me. It's going to be a matchup, top 10. Michigan might drop. I don't know. They won't. It doesn't matter. It's going to be top 10 versus, top 10. So that's going to be big. Obviously, Penn State's going to be looking at the Indiana defense. How do they shut down Michigan's rushing attack? Penn State will probably tackle better. So Michigan gets the win, but there's a lot of things to work on. Clean up the penalties. Don't have such a sloppy first half. Man, you can't do that against a Penn State team. You got to play 4 good, solid quarters against Penn State. You can't have sloppiness like we had in the first half today. But you got to win. The players will definitely be listening to the coaches going into it, and hopefully they'll come up with a good game plan overall. Don't forget, hopefully Mike Hart is okay. Hopefully he, just had maybe like, if you're an old Red Wings fan, you might remember when Yuri Fisher had an incident on the bench. The game was postponed from that, but he, a heart arrhythmia, and he never was able to play hockey again, at least at the NHL level. Hopefully it's nothing serious for Mike Hart. Obviously, sports takes a back seat to health, so hopefully Mike Hart's okay, but we'll see how that information is released. Big game next week versus Penn State. Huge. I wish it was like a 3:30. I wish it was maybe a night game, but you could really get the home field advantage, but it is what it is. Last year at Penn State, there wasn't a whiteout, right? Fox took the game and had it as their big noon, and that really helped Michigan, I think, win that game. So, again, it's going to be a big noon Saturday, again. So, Fox is just following Michigan around. Oh, lots to talk about. Glad to get the win. It wasn't the way I thought it would go, but I'm glad JJ, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. He won that game when he needed to. I mean, the rushing game was, bottled up. So he rose up and led this team to a victory. Great job all around, especially the second half. The defense was on fire. 21 points in the second half, gave up 0. Just great, man. Those are some of my foolish thoughts. Sorry, I kept talking, but there's just so much to talk about this game. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have some ideas, some comments, maybe something I missed. So many big plays in this game. Let me know what you guys think. Until I see you guys again next time, as always, go Blue!